Okay, so we're going to be doing the Wheel of Life assessment. And this is to determine where you are and where you'd like to be for the areas of life that matter most. Okay, so the intent here is to get a high level overview of the main areas of your life so we can focus our efforts moving forward. It's also to reflect on what's important, where you are, and where you'd like to be, and reevaluate what matters most right now in your life so that we can create a foundation for progress moving forward. All right. And to be motivated to your full potential, it's helpful to get a high level overview of all the dimensions of a balanced life. So I'm going to ask you to score your current level of satisfaction in the 12 main areas of a human life. All right. This was originally developed in the 1960s by a guy named Paul Meyer. It's used by all the major coaching institutions for the most part, Jay Shetty, Tony Robbins. And what I'm going to take you through is I've kind of pulled the best of the best in terms of how to teach the Wheel of Life and included a lot of innovations and creativity on real life experience and ways to ask the questions and stuff. So I'm going to take you through my version of the Wheel of Life today. Okay. So why is this kind of a drill important? What are your thoughts? Why is it important for us to do something like this?
I would say just to stay connected to to what's important to you, but also just maybe increase your drive and motivation to fulfill your purpose in life, just kind of to help navigate that.
Yeah, love it. So gain clarity on where things are and pinpoint exactly what the issue is. It's okay, this part of my life is what I need to focus on now, right? And the weird reason it's called Wheel of Life is because if you imagine each of the 12 dimensions is like a pie slice in the wheel, right? If one aspect,
pie.
yeah. So if one aspect of your life is really depleted, then the wheel doesn't roll as well, right? So it's okay, you can be doing great with your money and your physical health, but if your relationships are falling apart, then overall life feels like a bumpy ride. Okay, so that's hence the Wheel of Life analogy. I think Yogananda once said that millions of people live one-sided lives and perish in incompleteness. And he said we are physical, mental, and spiritual beings, and we must look after our well-rounded or our all-round welfare and avoid one-sided overdevelopment, right? So, and I know I've been guilty of this. There was times in my life when I was everything was about body and fitness, when I was compromising everything else. So we want to make sure things don't fall by the wayside, like family, friends, and most importantly, fun, So, and then for those people who are doing great, this is just validation. You can just validate, okay, I've got everything's in check right now. So it's all good. But the key thing with this is that we're going to be putting a number beside each category.
Okay.
And that's important because you can't manage what you don't measure. So putting a number to the category gives us big levels of empowerment. So what I would do, anybody watching along with the recording, I'd encourage you just have a pen and paper, just type out your answers and just follow along. When we go through the 12 categories, if there's any category you'd rather not talk about at this time for any reason, just say pass, and we leave it at that. And then later on, it's on you if you ever want to talk about that category then, okay?
Sounds good.
So here's the 12 categories. You'll be rating all of them 1 to 10 in terms of your current level of satisfaction. All right, I'm just going to describe them quickly. Then we're going to go through each of them in detail. And when we go through them in detail, that's when I'll have you score them. So the first category of life is physical health and wellness. All right, the second category is emotional health and wellness. The third category is time management. Fourth category is career, schooling, or mission, kind of like your mission in life and being on track with that. Fifth category is your relationship with money. Sixth category is physical environment. Seventh category is fun and recreation. 8 is your relationships with family and friends. 9 is romantic relationships or intimate relationships. 10 is personal growth. 11 is contribution. And category 12 is spiritual harmony. Okay. So once again, you're just going to give everything a score of 1 to 10. 10 means it's the most ideal possible. 0 means you were completely unsatisfied. And when you're scoring each category, don't overanalyze. Just give yourself a quick rating. Okay. Another option people can do if they want is you can also score it where you want it to be in 6 months. So you could say, okay, physical health is maybe a 7 out of 10. In 6 months, I want it to be a 9 or whatever. Right. And also consider redoing this entire assessment every 6 months or so. Okay. So let's go on to category 1, physical health and wellness. Any thoughts on why does this category matter? Why does physical health and wellness matter?
Well, I think it matters because it translates to like other avenues of your life as well. So let's say, I don't know, you're not feeling your best or you're not feeling your greatest. Sometimes that shows up in work, it shows up in your relationships as well. So it'll impact kind of the other categories.
Yeah, love it. So basically, we need a functional body vehicle to carry out our roles and responsibilities in life. And most importantly, health challenges can be an all-consuming distraction, which makes it difficult to aspire to anything in life. So typically, I always start off with physical health if we're working on bettering a category, if people have aches and pains and stuff like that, right? Because it's just going to distract from everything else. So here's some of the category considerations. I'm going to just describe them to you. Then I just have you give yourself a score 1 to 10. So here's what I want you to consider when you score yourself. How happy are you with the state of your physical body and health? Okay. To what extent are you engaged in physical activity or sport? Do you have correct posture? Do you have any unresolved aches or pains? How much energy do you have? Do you have proper elimination patterns? Are you satisfied with your sleep habits? How satisfied are you with your fitness, including strength, cardiovascular, flexibility? Are you satisfied with your appearance? How are your nutritional habits in terms of quality, quantity, consistency, and other factors? So I want you to just take into account the totality of all of those, and then just write down a score 1 to 10, how satisfied you are at the moment, okay? And then I want you to just reflect on, why do you give yourself that score? Why do you give yourself that score? Write down the reason for it, right? And you could say, oh, my meal quality is down. And, my exercise frequency isn't what I want it to be, or my exercise quality right now isn't what I want it to be. I'm not on a good structured plan. So write down your opportunities for improvement, right? It could be diet, it could be right exercise, or resolving aches and pains in the body. All right. Excellent. And that is that category there, physical health and wellness. Okay. Good to go on to category 2. The sun's coming out too, by the way. Can you see?
Absolutely stunning.
A legit sunrise going on here.
It looks like you have a backdrop.
I know, I should say, like, this is real. Like, this is that's legit.
Wow. No, it's just surreal. Like, it looks amazing. Love it.
All right. It was really funny. I had a coaching session yesterday and I had a monarch butterfly on me for the full hour.
Oh my God.
It was opening and closing its wings so it was very significant to the coaching call I had.
Oh, perfect.
In terms of what monarch butterflies represent. Right? So,
yeah.
Okay.
Category
2 is emotional health and wellness. Why does this category matter? By the way, I'm going to ask everybody, even if you're following along, to write down, why does this category matter? That's half of the solution, is acknowledging to yourself why the categories matter. Because a lot of times we forget that. And that's why we let categories fall by the wayside. So it's important to unpack the importance of each category. Okay. So why does emotional health and wellness matter?
I think in simple terms, I feel like unresolved like emotions or like difficulty, like emotional struggle, it translates still. So it'll still translate in your actions and how you feel about yourself and how you like show up every day. So I think it's important to, one, recognize like where you're at in terms of like emotional health, but
Mhm.
two, like, you know, maybe areas of improvement because it could impact everyone around you
Yeah,
and yourself. You're not going to be the best version of yourself, right?
absolutely. So, if you don't master your emotions, you'll likely experience an endless cycle of relationship problems and troubles, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
it's been said by many people that about 80% of success in anything is mental. I disagree with that. I think it's 81%, but that's okay. Agree to disagree. But the reason is that it comes down to self-control, discipline, and focus. So
Yeah.
if you want to make your life work for you, you have to make your emotions work for you,
I
right?
love that.
And the quality of your life is the quality of your emotions, right? You could be fit, rich, beautiful, talented, and still kill yourself because of your emotions. Many people have. So,
Yeah.
a quote that comes from Brother Chidananda, Self Realization Fellowship Convocation, recently was, become the ruler of your mental kingdom. Emotional upset is the result of a life uncontrolled by wisdom.
Hmm.
Identifying the problem is the first step to solving it. So a lot of times people are living in a state of ambiguity with what's causing their emotional unrest and everything else. And that's the first step, is actually like getting clarity on these things. Right. And Tony Robbins said that most people have a highway to stress and a dirt road to happiness.
Go figure.
And
And we all want the exact opposite, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
So I feel like, and personally, I just feel like any outward success without inner peace is failure.
yeah, there's no
Ultimately, what we
fulfillment.
want is inner peace. So
Right.
that's some of the reasons why this category matters. Now, here's the category considerations. I want you to think about all this stuff before you score yourself.
Okay.
I want you to think about, what are the emotions that come to you consistently. Everybody experiences typical emotions during a week. It could be stressed out, frustrated, angry, resentful, insecure, lonely, bored, confused, miserable, happy, loved, excited, playful, humored, enchanted, whatever, right?
Oh, it was such a nice one. Enchanted. Love that.
So, and the way I tell people to score this category is, what percentage of the time do you spend in the beautiful emotions versus the suffering emotions, right? So you might say, oh, I'm 80-20. 80% of the time I'm in love and gratitude and peace. 20% of the time I'm in like confusion and self-doubt and resentment or whatever, right? So that's
Okay.
something I want you to think about. Also, how good are you at getting rid of unwanted thoughts or emotions? When they come to you, how good are you at getting rid of them? Right? Getting rid of fear of failure, getting rid of negativity, unmet expectations, frustration. Can you get rid of your frustrations easily? Overwhelm, impatience, anxiety, depression, hopelessness, right? And another thing to consider before you score yourself is, do you fully understand where your suffering comes from and what is causing it? If you don't know the exact ingredients that lead to the recipe of these unhealthy emotions, then you'll be ruled by them, right? So we don't want to have ambiguity with this stuff. We want to know what leads to all of the suffering emotions so that we can transcend it. So
Okay.
give yourself a score 1 to 10, taking all of that into consideration. Beautiful emotions versus suffering emotions. How good are you at getting rid of the unwanted emotions? And do you fully understand where your suffering comes from?
Okay.
And then jot down why you give yourself that score. Where are your opportunities for improvement? Usually, this has to do with the specific suffering emotions you experience most, or spending too much time in the suffering emotions. Like, I tell people, spend a minute to understand it and feel it and get to know it, but then take away the message of the suffering emotion. We don't want to ignore it happened and sweep it under the rug. You want to acknowledge the suffering emotions because each of them has an empowering message, right? So that would
Perfect.
be that would be it there. Like, for example, the message of anger is that an important rule or standard we hold for life has been broken or violated by somebody, possibly ourselves, right? The message of frustration means you believe you could be doing better than you are. You know, disappointment means that something you wanted you'll probably never get, so you need to change change your expectations and desires. You know, guilt tells you you violated one of your highest standards, so you got to do something to make sure you're not going to do that again. Inadequacy could be that you need more information, understanding, strategies, tools or confidence. Or inadequacy could be that you're untrained or unskilled in an area, that you're not quite adequate, or that you have an unfair rule for feeling adequate. Like, there could be a lot of this, right?
Yeah.
So we want to get clear on what and that's a topic of other discussions, is breaking them all down and what they all mean. But we just want to know that that is possible to us. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go on to category 3. Category 3 is time management. Why does time management matter?
Why does time management matter? I think it's important to articulate where your time is going, right? And why it's like meaningful to you, because if you don't know where your time is going, or like, you know, if you're putting it towards something that's not important to you, and maybe you're experiencing like frustration or suffering emotions a lot, it's like important to evaluate where you're putting your time and energy into.
Love it. So it's a fixed resource. We only have so much of it. We want to make sure we
Right.
make the best use of it.
Exactly.
Right? It's the one thing on planet Earth we all have the same amount of, you know?
Right.
And to focus it and spend it wisely is the key to success in anything, really, right?
Yeah.
So let's go into some things to consider on how we're going to score ourselves for this. Okay. For time management, here's some things I'd have you ask yourself. You know, what is your relationship like with time? Are you spending it, wasting it, killing it? You know, are you satisfied that you're managing your time in a balanced way? Do you struggle with never having enough time? Or do you struggle with time wasters and procrastination? You know, how effectively do you feel you give a sincere effort to meeting and completing each outcome you set for the day? Are you happy with your personal productivity and performance at home, at work, everything else? So take all of that into consideration and give yourself a score. How satisfied are you? 1 to 10. 10 means totally ideal, right? And where are your opportunities for improvement?
Okay.
So do you have any initial thoughts on how we can address opportunities for improvement when it comes to time management?
Well, I would just say, in terms of like my experience and some of the clients I train and so forth, like one of the most common things I hear is, I don't have time. So I think this one like speaks volumes, and I love that it's even incorporated in this, because I think it's so important. Because sometimes we don't even give ourselves the opportunity to like reflect on where our time is even going, and how much
Mhm.
energy, like, you know, we want to put into things and have for ourselves at the end of the day, right? So that's kind of my reflection on this one.
Excellent. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's like time is like a boat, and there could be a leak in the boat, and we're losing
Yeah.
out here, and we're sinking, and we don't know why, right? So we want to be able to
Right.
identify that. We want to be able to think, where are my opportunities to better plan my time? Where are the opportunities to better prioritize my time? And where are the opportunities to better execute? You know,
Yeah. It's
and
super
a lot of
important.
it can come down to managing your energy. Like, if you're only good in meetings for 15 minutes, just book meetings for 15 minutes. Don't give
Right.
bad energy. Don't talk to somebody for 3 hours if you're only good for 1 hour. This is funny, because this is generally what happens with my wife and I. We play
Yeah.
chess, and I'm amazing in game 1. Like, I do so well, and she knows it. And then game 2, I'm garbage. Like, it's just like I just make terrible moves. And so it's always like, I always tell her, like, look, I'm good because I do such intense thinking when I play chess, and then I'm burnt out in game two, and I always suck. And so usually I win game one, she wins game two, right?
That's probably why she always wants to play game two.
Oh yeah, totally.
Strategic, Ashley.
And then for game three, she acknowledges that I'm never that good in game two because I just don't have the mental energy anymore because of how much thinking I do about each move and strategy and playing it all out. I'm like, I need a break. Like that's like doing a max set of deadlifts. Like I need my time to recoup before I could do that
Right.
again, right? So another thing is like with it, ignoring time bullies. There are people that'll want you to say yes to everything that they want you to do and try to, you know, try to pull you into their priorities and pressure you into doing things you don't want to do. So just be able to stand up to time bullies. Try to be able to like multitask habits. Like if you need to listen to a podcast, do it while you're getting ready in the morning or listen to an audiobook in the car. Try to remove the physical triggers that distract you, like having a TV in the bedroom or a video game system or whatever, and plan your distractions. Like, plan to give yourself a 15-minute walk after every 2 hours of work. And that'll get you excited because your mind knows you get a break and know when to do what. Like most people, they do their best creativity in the first 4 hours of the morning. Even like people who author books, they know that they're good for about the first 4 hours. And then, you do the work that requires less creativity later on in the day. Right. And then block time. Like, okay, these 2 hours in the evening are for family, like nothing gets in that way. I just schedule it as an important meeting. Or I know that with a lot of the busy clients I worked with, they'd schedule their workouts as important meetings in their schedule so that people doing their schedule don't book over it and think, oh, it's just an exercise. We can,
Yeah.
So those are some different things with time management. Okay, let's go into the next category. The next category is kind of like purpose, but it's like your career or your schooling or your overall sense of mission, being on track with your mission. So why does this category matter?
I think it's where we allocate the most time, or where we spend the most time for the most part, for most people.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think that's why it matters.
Yeah. This is where you're investing yourself most. Absolutely.
Agreed.
And ultimately, because you spend so much time there, this is going to play a big role in your happiness. So here's some category considerations. How clear and compelling is your life purpose? What is your mission in the short term? What is your mission in the long term? How comfortable are you with your levels of clarity on your life purpose? How on track are you? Do you still need more experience and self-discovery? Here's some work considerations, as it relates to work. Are you having challenges related to choosing, changing, or leaving a career? Right? Or overall, how satisfied are you with your job? Are there some experiences at work you're not entirely happy with? Right? So if you're working full time, that's something to consider. For people in school, I would say, how happy and satisfied are you with the school you're attending and the subjects? Are you learning the material sufficiently? Are there any aspects of school that you aren't happy with? Right? So then I'd have you just give yourself a score 1 to 10. Write down your score 1 to 10. And where are your opportunities for improvement? Right? And, at a very basic level, what this comes down to is getting clear on the experiences we want to have in life, getting clear on all the things we want to learn in life, getting clear on how we want to love in our life, people and pets and the people we want to better connect with, and getting clear on our legacy, how we want to leave this world a better place, specifically how we want to take our unique gifts and talents and share them with the world. So a lot of that will be kind of where the opportunities for improvement can be in getting clarity and getting a plan on those categories. All right, now we're going to go on to relationship with money, category 5. Why does our relationship to money even matter?
I would say, why does a relationship with money matter? Well, for some people, it might be like the driving force of life. And I think maybe attaching too much value to money or paper form, like you might miss out on like different opportunities, or you may gain opportunities. I just feel like it's important to have kind of like a healthy relationship with it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It can be because money can be a tool that can create opportunities for us
Right.
and give us power. But for some people, it can be an obsession. It
Yeah.
can be a constant stress of not having it, a fixation on always trying to get more, the constant challenges of managing it. Right.
Yeah.
So it can definitely empower us or disempower us. It can strengthen us, or our relationship with money can strengthen us or drain us. So here are some category considerations. What is the first word to come to mind when you think of money? Right? Think about that. You know? And it could be something like necessity, which brings a sense of desperation. Or,
Right.
you know, it could be like, for me, it would be tool. It's just a tool, right? Like,
Right.
if money were a person, what would that relationship be like with you if money were a person? You know, do you have any money related fears, like fear of debt, fear of wasting money, fear of being broke? Would other people consider these fears rational for you? Why or why not? You know, you might also want to think about, what do you believe is your maximum earning potential? Is your identity tied to your wealth? That can be a problem, because wealth is always in a state of flux. And if we hinge our identity to our wealth, and we identify with being a, you know, a six-figure earner, or somebody who's wealthy and rich and whatever, then there's a level of vulnerability we're creating with that. Do you have enough money to meet all of your basic needs? You know, do you have any challenges with your money mindset or attitude about money? Any major debts or financial responsibilities that are getting to you at the moment? You know, are you happy with your knowledge and understanding of finances, or do you need further financial education? Right? How well are you managing your money? What does your bank account and savings account look like? So these are all things we want to consider. All right. So what would you score yourself 1 to 10, and why would you give yourself that score? Just write that down. Take into account everything related to money. You know, and then where are your opportunities for improvement? What are the beliefs you have that might be holding you back? That could be one thing.
Okay.
Right? What would it take for you to be pleased with your financial future? You know, do you need to build up a nest egg or something like that? Or do you need to have a meeting with somebody to get everything organized? Right?
Got it.
You know, some different ideas on money is, you know, make sure you save before you spend. You know, spend no more than 25% on rent, 15% on food, 10% on entertainment, 5% on vacations. You know, don't gamble because it's addictive and takes you down the wrong road. Spend 10 to 25% on personal growth and development. You know, there's different things that we can, different ways we can organize a plan here. Okay, let's go on to category 6, physical environment. Physical environment. Why does physical environment matter?
Well, the first thing I think of is, even in terms of like, let's say you have a messy and chaotic room, usually that translates to how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be an example.
Yeah.
Or you could refer to people, like the people around you and the types of environments you're surrounded by.
Mm-hmm.
Does it match up with who you want to be
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that
So
sense? Yeah.
the physical environment can harmonize with our energy, our mood, and our purpose, or it can be a disruption and distraction for that. So some things we want to consider, and it's a very important category, because if we don't get our environment right, it can be very difficult to do other things right. You know, here's something to think about. Are you set up for success with the people and places you associate with on a regular basis. Okay. That's something to consider. Does your physical environment make you feel safe, secure, and comfortable? You know, are your environments functional, efficient, ergonomic, and organized? Right? Are you experiencing challenges related to changing your environments? You know, could you use some improvements in any way? You know, consider all of the above and where are you at 1 to 10 in the moment? Why do you give yourself that score? And what are some opportunities for improvement? So for example, if somebody's moving, then physical environment might be really low at the moment. Everything's in boxes. It's hard to get things figured out, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Here, I'm just giving a peanut to my friend.
He's been back there. He's at the buffet for a long time.
Oh no, this one, I just saw him run over from way over on the other side of the property. So the other ones were actually other chipmunks coming from this side here.
Oh
But
my goodness.
that one's Peaches. She lives way over on the other side. So I saw her running all the way across the lawn. I knew she was coming.
I love that name. Peaches. It's so cute.
Oh yeah. It was really festive the day that I actually fed her a peach. Right? Her full name is Princess Peach, but this is my work environment, right? So I'm outside here with the animals and the sun and the lake and everything else. So it's a great environment for coaching.
100%.
Okay, so we might think that we need to to improve it. Yeah, so here's a different one right here. We might think
Daisy? Princess Peach and Daisy. Here we go.
Yeah. So we might think we need to declutter, or or we might need to add a plant or more storage or transition to a more harmonious environment. You know, one thing I like that comes from Neil Donald Walsh in the book, The Only Thing That Matters. He said, nothing changes the environment like one person deciding to love one another no matter what. I really love that line, but so next category, let's go on to fun and recreation. Why does fun and recreation matter? It's funny because I'm going to tell you that a lot of the people that I coach are very successful achievers. And I stump them with this question because they're not even thinking about fun as being important anymore. They've forgotten the sense of fun because they're so focused on achievement, right? So it's kind of like, oh, you got me. Why does fun and recreation matter?
I feel like it just brings creativity in your life. Like sometimes in areas of fun and recreation, you connect to a different side of yourself, or you get creative ideas. Like I think that it's important to have those outlets for creativity, and that could be one of them.
Absolutely. So, adding fun and leisure can decrease your stress. It can lower pressure, anxiety in all other areas of life. I think it gives us a refreshing boost so that we're more focused and we can concentrate better. And as you said, have better creativity, right? It can increase our confidence and our happiness and our energy and our motivation. It can actually make us more productive because we recharge ourselves. We work hard, we get maximized, then we need times to plug in and recharge so that we're better able to focus again, right? Without fun, life can get too serious and people just feel like they want to jump off the deep end.
Right. No, it's so true.
So I think that's why this category matters so much. So here are some category considerations. Are you having fun and enjoying life? Do you celebrate your wins? Do you take time for your interests and your hobbies and your activities that help you feel rejuvenated? I think I almost said hobbit there. And the activities that make you feel rejuvenated. Right?
I feel like we're on a game show right now. I'm like, no. It's so funny. I love it. The game show of life.
Oh, I think that's Peaches. Peaches, would you like a peanut? Here you go. Here you go. She's gonna take off now.
So how do you know it's Peaches? She sounds stupid, but how can you tell?
She's bigger than the other chipmunks.
Okay.
Like she's the biggest and she's got like a couple little markings by her back end. We're somebody might have bit her or something. Like that's a good
Oh,
question, because you have to, once you get to know a lot of them, it's in the subtleties you can tell them apart,
so cute.
right?
Maybe
That's
it's
one
all
of
the
my
peaches
hobbies.
you're feeding her. That's why she's big.
Yeah. Oh, I know. That's one of my hobbies. I call it chipmunking, the art and sport of feeding chipmunks.
I love it.
It's their favorite game too, by the way.
I bet. I bet you're definitely, they definitely love your place right now, for sure.
All right. So give yourself a score 1 to 10 on fun and recreation,
Okay.
and then think about what are your opportunities for improvement. Are there specific ideas that could add fun and excitement to your life? Could you plan something long term to look forward to, like a vacation? If you book like a trip or a vacation or something exciting, it can give you a psychological boost for up to 6 months, right? Even just planning something fun already begins the process of fun. I think the biggest thing is, and schedule things in. Like a hike or an adventure, just schedule something in. The biggest problem with fun and recreation has to do with the attitude towards fun and recreation. Most people they forget why it matters. And so I think staying in touch with that ultimately is really good. There's a guy named Milton Erickson, the Wizard of the Desert, and he was an amazing coach. He inspired people like Tony Robbins, and he would get his clients to read the funny pages every day and tell him which ones they found funny. That was homework.
I love it. That's awesome.
Here's a quote. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. One cannot help but be in awe when he contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity. Albert Einstein. So just embrace the mysteries of life in a fun, adventurous way, is basically what Einstein was saying. All right. Next category, relationship with friends and family. I'm going to speed us through these next ones a little bit. So you want to write down, why does this category matter?
Okay.
Your close relationships will dictate your day-to-day happiness and drive you from moment to moment, ultimately, right? But why else does this category matter? Right? Some things to think about is, do you want to be more present in your relationships and feel more connected? Do you want to give more to your relationships? Do you want to receive more? Do you spend enough time with those who are important to you? Are you happy with the quality of the time spent with them? Do you have any current issues, challenges, or frustrations with your family and friends? Are you happy with who you are and who you're showing up as in these relationships? Or could you be better? So give yourself a score 1 to 10. And where are your opportunities for improvement? Maybe you could be getting stuck in fear and intolerance instead of love and acceptance for other people. Maybe you need to do some fun and leisurely activities together. Maybe you need to spend time together in the right environments, because the wrong environments aren't working well for people. Something to think about. All right, next category, category 9, romantic relationships. Okay. So think of it. Why does this category matter? And to some people, it's not as important because they've got other focuses. So they might say, well, it might matter, but it's not as important right now to me, right? For a lot of people, it's a specific need for connection that they're yearning for. Perhaps disharmonious relationships will add more suffering to their life, or it could add more harmonious relationships, could add more joy and strength to their life. So here's some considerations for this category. If in a relationship, I'm going to address this, if in a relationship and if single, right?
Okay.
If single, how happy are you on your own? 1 to 10. Are you having challenges relating to finding or choosing a partner? Are you having challenges related to breakups or leaving a partner? How happy are you on your own? And if you're with somebody, are you having challenges with, if you're in a relationship, are you having challenges with peace and harmony in your relationship? Are you satisfied with how you show up in your relationship? Are things still exciting, or has the romance stalled? So you want to think about, and then overall, Do you have challenges expressing love? Do you have challenges giving love? Do you have challenges feeling love? Are you happy with your knowledge and understanding of relationship dynamics? Or do you think you'd benefit from greater wisdom and understanding in terms of how to make relationships work? Right? So those are all things to take into consideration. You know, give yourself a score 1 to 10, where you're at right now, and try to get specific on opportunities for improvement. Right? Some people have destructive strategies to get love and attention. Sometimes people we love burn us. You know, they're like love dragons. You get too close and they burn you. You got to love them at a distance. Sometimes we're attracted to people for the wrong reasons, right? Earlier on, when we're younger, we're attracted largely on looks, which doesn't have the lasting power of character, and our priorities shift, you know? Sometimes people are together because of convenience. Sometimes they're together because they're committed. Maybe they have a kid together and that's why they're together. Sometimes it has to do with chemistry. That's why they're together. You know, there's all these different things to think about when it comes to relationships. Okay.
Perfect.
Now, next category is personal growth. Personal growth, category 10. Why does personal growth matter? Any thoughts?
Personal growth. I think it matters because we can just level up in how we serve others. We can level up in terms of like, even in terms of like credentials and so forth. Maybe we do a better job in our career. And I think it's also good because in my like experience, every time I've like done more courses or bought into like personal growth, I've always made more connections with people, resources. So I think that's important too.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. So growth can bring us a sense of connection, happiness, calmness, and power. Life is all about growing and giving. Growing and give. Grow and then give. Grow and then give. Tony Robbins said, quote unquote, progress equals happiness. He said the law of the universe is that everything grows or dies. If it doesn't contribute, it's eliminated by evolution. Right? So unless you feel like you're growing, you'll be happy and unfulfilled. That's the red squirrel now. That's Red. Hey, Red.
I was just laughing because he was listening in.
Yeah. How are you doing, buddy? I knew him since he was a little baby. He came here to visit. And he comes early in the mornings because the bigger red squirrels chase him away if he comes later in the day. Yeah, he was just a little baby and he came and sat at my feet and I was petting him and feeding him when he was young. He comes in the morning. Okay, so here's some category considerations for this. Do you feel you're growing and progressing as a person? How satisfied are you with your rate of growth and development at this time? Are you stuck anywhere, experiencing the same frustrations or confusions over and over? You know, are you satisfied with the amount of effort and focus you're giving to self-improvement in your life right now? So give yourself a score 1 to 10. 1 to 10. Where are you at? Okay. And then why do you give yourself that score? You know?
Yeah.
To me, I'm all about just seeking out profound knowledge for living a human life. And that's why I think this category matters. Like, what are the most profound strategies, beliefs, skills, or tools that can help us live a human life? Right? So we might need to read books, watch biographies, listen to podcasts, take courses, meet regularly with really wise people that can elevate our thinking. There's a lot of options there. Okay, next category, contribution. Contribution is all about finding happiness in the happiness of others, okay? Which is one of the highest forms of happiness, okay? It gives us a sense of peace to pay it forward. That was actually one of my favorite movies, Pay It Forward. I love that movie. It inspired me. You know, to experience true joy and fulfillment, it's all about contribution. It's one of life's deepest joys, gives a deeper sense of meaning to life. People learn this eventually, but scientifically they've shown like you're happier if you create happiness for other people rather than looking for self-gratifying, selfish happiness. So but this is something people will learn in time. So some category considerations here for us, okay? Category considerations are, how are you giving back or adding value to the world? You know, are you satisfied with the specific way that you contribute to the greater good? You know, are you satisfied with the consistency of your contributions? How happy are you in your ability to lead, inspire, and contribute to the lives of others? You know, so why score yourself, why 1 to 10, and why you give yourself that score. Red.
Okay.
You might hear the
I
red
hear it, yeah.
trying to interrupt me. Here's Peaches. Peaches, come here.
Peaches is definitely a morning person.
Oh, she will hang out here all day. She's getting ready for winter. She's got an underground chamber where she keeps all of these peanuts and stuff. So
Right.
she will she's filling up her chamber. I think she's a mom.
Oh, that's so cute.
So I'm just trying to help her out. Okay. So for contribution, you know, you want to think about in what ways are you best suited to give and contribute to others. Maybe it's time, maybe it's finance, maybe it's creativity, maybe it's supportive content, maybe it's sharing your talent, maybe it's like practical service. You know, think about in what ways are you best suited to give and contribute to others. Also, who are you best suited to help? It's good to start. It's good to start.
Perfect.
where you feel the most pain, you know?
Like you said, fun.
Yeah.
You know, you need fun.
Sometimes our brain makes us screw things up when it's getting too serious, because it helps us get the right brain back in. You know, think of where you'd love to make a difference, like the communities, people, animals, or other causes you believe in. Like, who might you develop the ability to create an impact on? You know, a lot of times people are most motivated to help for the causes they themselves have personally struggled with, because, you know, you've got practical experience in that category, right? But there's many different things people can do. They can tutor people. They can, you know, help out with programs for mentally or physically disadvantaged, right? Voter registration is something I know people have done, like volunteer citizen patrols, like Neighborhood Watch, like helping out with environmental initiatives and energy and wildlife conservation and community cleanups and walkathons and education programs and Big Brother, Big Sister and outreach and emergency aid and orphanages and hosting exchange students, recycling programs, whatever. There's a ton of things you could think of for this category, right? Sometimes it's just giving, and it could be just giving coaching and wisdom to somebody, helping mentor somebody, meeting up for a coffee and mentoring them in an area that you yourself feel ready to mentor in. So it could be something like that. Okay. Category 12, spiritual harmony. Why does spiritual harmony matter? What role does it play in your life? Right?
I think it comes back to that inner peace.
Yes. Positive faith can relieve anxiety and worry about the future. To live in the world without spiritual harmony can really make you hard-boiled and anxious.
Hard-boiled.
You know, like, it can really get us focused on life is about me instead of life is about we, right? It can get us very focused on ourselves as an individual. I would consider this the most important of all the categories, but it'll take, I think people have to progress to prioritizing this one. So here's some considerations. Do you have an effective process for spiritual connection and focus? Do you do anything regularly to raise your consciousness, such as meditation, prayer, you know, talking with the creator? You know, do you have faith that a higher power is guiding your life for your own well-being? Do you see life as being directional and having purpose rather than random events based on good or bad luck? You know, what is your relationship like with God, the universe, or whatever you think created you? Have you bridged the gap between knowing about the creator and knowing the creator personally? A lot of times when I have people that have a really strong religious background, they are very low in spiritual harmony because they know about the concept of a creator intellectually, but they don't have a personal relationship in any satisfactory way. Right? You know, are you satisfied that you have the best form in your prayer? You know, are you indifferent towards consistent spiritual practice? That could be a problem, right?
Yeah.
Or are you trying to live for yourself, or are you trying to live for the will of the creator? You know, do you view yourself as a citizen of the world or a spiritual pilgrim that's here for a time? You know, do you involve in spiritual bypassing, distracting yourself with spiritual work that's not getting you anywhere, or just spreading your focus too thin with too many topics and too many different spiritual paths, going an inch deep and a mile wide instead of an inch wide and a mile deep, you know? So think about where you're at. And then I would say consider giving yourself a spiritual cleanse, burning away false beliefs, attitudes, and identities that are creating this disharmony. You know, spiritual detox curriculum, spiritual harmony curriculum, that has to do with a lot of the specific coaching tools that I teach that we've done, like radical acceptance, the golden nugget, divine therapy, the knowing, all of these different mental toughness tools for spiritual detox and spiritual harmony. So that's something to think about there. Now, here's what we do with all of these scores. You want to prioritize your focus. We have 12 categories. Consider which categories matter most to you, in addition to which are at the lowest level of satisfaction. Then combine that to determine what's the actual top priority. So you don't have to prioritize the lowest scoring category. Also consider which categories matter most right now. You know, we want to focus on where you want to focus, not the area you're necessarily struggling most. Sometimes it helps to get good winning momentum with a category that isn't suffering as much, in order to give us strength going into some of the categories that are more challenged. Right? So we want to just be able to deep dive the priority areas, you know, and then just think about, contemplate, you know, if you were to get this to an ideal score of this category, what benefits would it give you? Also, what's preventing you from getting to an ideal score? What are your challenges or struggles that block you from moving forward? Do you have any disempowering patterns in this category? Also, what are your empowering patterns? What are your strengths? What do you do really well? What are 2 to 3 of your most stressful thoughts related to this category? Or do you have any limiting beliefs about this category? What is the empowering truth about you and this category? Also think, who do you need to be to take this to the next level? What qualities and values do you need to represent? Then you can think practically, like, what do you need to do? Do you need to start in making changes? Do you need to research, delegate, collaborate, prioritize? Think about, you know, what are 3 things you could learn for this category? What are 3 things you could experiment with? You know, so I think all of us owe it to ourselves to see how we function when we get our lives balanced and optimal, and just to allow the beauty of your inner being and your soul to come through by getting all of this stuff in balance and check, right? And just be able to self-actualize your higher potential. That's what this is all about. I'm trying to motivate you to convert you to your highest expression of yourself, your higher self. That's what the wheel of life is all about. And this is just a strategy to map it all out so we can navigate the ideal path forward. All right. That is the wheel of life.
Loved it.